So a couple weeks ago, I did a video on the 30-year mortgage in the United States, and I was asking if anybody wanted me to do a deeper dive. One person did, so here's my deep dive. So the first thing we're going to talk about is federal land banks, but in order to understand where this all came from, you need to understand the concept of why it's hard to get private investors or any bank to loan people money on a long-term basis like 30 years. I'm hoping most people know how a bank works, but when you put your money in the bank, they don't just hold it there. They want to then lend that money out to do other things to make more money, right? And so that's why the concept of loaning out a large sum of money for a long period of time is scary for a bank that needs to have certain liquidity when it comes to the amount of money that they have on hand. So that's concept number one. The second concept to understand is that the government can't just create money. Well, in theory, they can't just create money to loan out to anybody free of charge. And so they needed a way to be able to source this money, have the money that will actually fill the coffers down at the federal land bank so that they can loan it out to these farmers. And that was done through tax-free, tax-exempt bonds. And this was one of the first tax-exempt bonds that the government issued. And so people would buy these bonds and they were saving a ton of money because they weren't actually being charged any taxes on it, which was a huge advantage at the time. So the flow ended up being that the government would sell these bonds, investors would buy them, which would then give the banks cash, these federal land banks. Those federal land banks would then loan out that cash to the farmers, and the mortgage payments that were made each month by the farmers would end up reimbursing those investors, but they were getting tax-free reimbursements and income from that whole arrangement, which might sound a lot like modern day mortgage-backed securities. So this was a concept that was born in 1916 that we're now seeing as in today's modern 30-year mortgage. So there you go. That's my deep dive from my one loyal follower, and tune in for part 3 because we're only in 1916. We got a lot of time left to talk about it.